Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nerdvana right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Justin Greenberg, and I'm here with no one. Oh, wait, Dominic Arbolino's here. He doesn't know nerdy stuff, though. Dom, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I was told to come in here and help you out. So.
Who told you that?
Sean Novad. He's like, go help a brother out.
All right.
I said, all right, sure.
I'm tagging you in. We're going to see what you know about nerdy stuff. You see any of these movie trailers?
What movie trailers?
Godzilla, new one just came out.
There's a new one coming out?
Another one, yes.
Oh, no.
I think we should have you on every week, just the guy who doesn't know anything.
That would be pretty funny. I always get nervous, though, when all these movies, you know, that they keep making them over and over again, because it's almost like you can they're just doing it because there's new ways to make it cooler now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a catch-22. I think, you know, some of these movies warrant being, you know, remade because the technology, as you said, just wasn't up to par. But again, in another way, you know, it's not all about the technology. Sometimes I like the corniness of terrible technology. If you watch a movie like Ghostbusters from the 1980s, it has a certain charm to it that you just don't really get.
Even like the old It, you know? It's just so, it's so funny because how, it compares to the new technology and, seeing the new It, and how different it was.
Did you enjoy It?
Well, when I saw it, the recent one,
yeah, the recent one,
yeah, and I thought it was good. I think they have a pretty cool cast in terms for the next one.
Yes,
they kind of all relate to the characters. It looks like that's how they would look when they were older.
Yeah, a few weeks ago they announced the cast for the upcoming It. Some of the cast members are pretty awesome. You got Bill Hader, who's one of the funniest people on earth, and then Jessica Chastain, who's won Oscars. So it's no joke. It looks like they're putting a lot of time and effort into it. So this past weekend was San Diego Comic-Con.
I heard about that. There's a lot of sad news. I know Rick Grimes, I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from it. He is in, Andrew Lincoln, I should say. He is Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, about how he was said that he was not continuing with the show after this next season. He's the main character, so it's pretty disappointing.
I don't watch the show, but I've heard the name Andrew Lincoln.
That's one thing I took away from it.
Are you a Walking Dead guy?
I am. It really has been going downhill, so I understand why he's not going to be wanting to do it anymore, because it's not the money that's been the issue. It's really that he doesn't want his reputation to get ruined.
Is that what he said?
Well, he didn't say it, but it's pretty obvious, because he got paid more than enough money to continue, so it's not like that was the issue. It's just the show's going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, they call it being pigeonholed or in a role. So if you play a character for your typecast, so if you play a character for 10, 15 years, it's hard to get away from that. So even I was watching a trailer for a movie starring Bradley Cooper, and then Dave Chappelle shows up. I'm like, oh, well, I just think of him as Dave Chappelle, the comedian, the guy from Chappelle Show. It's tough, especially, iconic shows. Walking Dead, I don't watch, but I'm sure this guy is super recognizable. And whenever he's going to show up, it's going to be like, oh, that's Walking Dead guy. And listen, I feel for him, but he had to make the decision. It is what it is. But the big controversy coming out of Comic-Con this past week actually happened on Friday. The director of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1 and 2, did you see either of those?
No.
Okay, so
it's probably going to be hard for me to relate.
No, you're going to actually relate to this perfect, because I like that you don't know his work. So basically, he's hired by Disney in 2000, let's say 11, 12, to write and direct these movies. Before he was hired, he was directing really, raunchy type of comedies. He was an out there director, so Disney kind of knew what he was doing with his career. It just so happens also in 2011, 2010-ish, he was saying tweets that were kind of offensive. He was making jokes about the Holocaust. He was making jokes about rape.
Okay, so those are very offensive.
Those are very bad things. But for me, he was making a joke, and I think I'm one person that thinks everything is on the table. Everything could be joked about.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I have no problem with his jokes. I mean, my last name's Greenberg. I have no problem with a Holocaust joke. I just think you just gotta listen,
it depends on how you say it, and like you got to make sure that everybody knows you're joking around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a joke. But obviously they're two horrible things. So I'm not supporting the things that he's joking about, but they're jokes.
Yeah.
So he made these tweets in 10 years ago or so, and they just happened to resurface earlier in the week.
Well, this happens a lot, actually, because it actually just recently happened to like an MLB relief pitcher on the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
That happened. And like these are all things from like, and his tweets were really bad. I'm not even going to bring it up what he said, but I mean, like I feel like you see this happening a lot nowadays, where like people will just go on random like famous people's Twitter accounts and just go all the way, scroll down. And then I mean, it's true though. You do see a lot of stuff from my Twitter, like I don't really think I've tweeted anything that like has been bad, but like I feel like if I ever make it that big, I will probably wipe everything just to make sure. Like I know myself, I've never said anything that will cause that big of a controversy, but like I still will probably wipe it.
I'm 100% with you. My YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff's
Everything.
Getting wiped because
Start new.
I've said offensive things, but 9 times out of 10, the people that are making these jokes kind of just make them to break the ice or just it's just
it
comedy.
can get taken the wrong way a lot nowadays.
Especially if you're hired by Disney. But I think they knew what they were getting into, and Disney just fired Roseanne because she had her show and she made the offensive tweets earlier in the year, and that was the biggest show of the year. It was the #1 show on TV, and Guardians of the Galaxy was the #1 movie for quite a while in the years that it was released, both of them. So he got fired. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a joke, #1, and #2, I just think Disney was way too quick to jump on the firing. You got to look into this type of stuff. You got to talk to the guy face to face.
Try and figure it out
instead of just, wiping the slate clean on this guy's career. This is the guy who he not only directed, he wrote, he created, he didn't create the characters, but he created, the characters for the motion pictures because they're based off of obviously comic book characters.
Yeah,
it's a shame. I'm a huge fan of the movies and his work. He's produced and written a bunch of other movies that are really awesome. So I don't know what they're going to do with them. I don't know what he's going to do rather with his career. They signed a petition. There's over 50,000 names that have signed on so far asking for his reinstatement. But I don't think Disney's going to back down on this one.
No, and then also it's for his career going forward. It's going to be hard to rebound from this.
Yeah, he's going to be that guy.
Whenever this kind of happens, now you have that reputation of what you're known for.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think I kind of agree with you. Where I haven't seen his stuff. I can't judge on how good he is. I'm sure he's done fantastic work, but I understand as to why they fired him, but like again, it's so hard nowadays because if something so long ago, like it could have been a mistake or like you weren't like intentionally trying to do anything. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just there's so many different situations you can go about it where it's odd.
And he apologized. He said, he's sorry for saying these tweets, and I don't think he had to apologize. But Disney is so hypocritical, and I mentioned this on my Saturday show, because Disney, years ago, was putting out really offensive stuff for the time. They were, stereotyping different races. If you look at movies like Dumbo, or if you look at a movie like The Aristocats, they portray African Americans and they portray Asians in such stereotypical, ways that, and that was years ago. And what if the namesake of their company, Disney, has had controversy? There's rumors that he was an anti-Semite. So to me, I think everybody's very soft in this generation. This whole PC culture really ticks me off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, everyone is a snowflake.
Yes.
That's what I like to call them now.
They stink. So, Dom, I'm going to go off We're not even going to be talking about this first page. Let's go back. We're going to go back in time. By the way, you're listening to Nerdvana right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. You got somewhere to go? You keep looking at your watch.
No, I'm not really looking at my watch. Well, I mean, I got stuff to look up for the next hour that we have coming for us.
What are we doing on that show? What is that show?
That show is the Squared Circle.
Yes.
It's we talk about all about professional wrestling, not just WWE. We get into UFC sometimes.
Yes.
And
I want you to do some research on TNA.
Impact has been doing really good stuff.
And they just had a pay-per-view last night. I didn't get to watch it because I'm not paying money for a pay-per-view, but I believe some new titles were changed, and so we'll get into all that in the next coming hour. But we're going to travel back to the year 1998. I want to go over some of the big movies that were
the year
out.
I was born.
Oh my God! I'm so old. 1998, you were born. What month were you born?
November 2nd.
So this is before you were born. These movies.
Yes.
The movies we're about to list were the number one movies out during the month of July. So July 5th, 1998, number one movie was Armageddon. You ever seen Armageddon? Go ahead, just say it.
No.
You have not seen Armageddon. All right.
All right. Let me explain this first.
I'm not going to bash you for it.
No, I know. I just want to explain to all the listeners out there where I'm not really that big of a movie guy. I prefer TV shows over movies.
Do you know
100%.
the concept of Armageddon?
I think so, but I'm not going to make a fool out of myself, so you could just explain.
It's very stupid. It's an awful movie, but I love it. It's got a really good cast, but it's super, super corny. It's got Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Steve Buscemi, Owen Wilson, Michael Clark Duncan. It's got a really awesome cast, and it had a hit song by Aerosmith. Don't want to close my eyes. And that was everywhere in 1998. But the premise of the movie is there's a giant comet, or an asteroid, rather. An asteroid is coming to Earth. And basically, Bruce Willis's team is a bunch of oil drillers. And
so they have to, save everybody?
They have to learn how to fly into space and then drill a nuclear bomb into the asteroid.
So it explodes.
So they have to land on a moving asteroid, drill hole, of course, and then somehow drill it and then get off of it.
How? Whoa. All right. Not only the speed, I bet, is crazy of this asteroid.
Of course.
How? If they are landing on it, that is just a struggle. But how are they going to drill anything into it as it's moving that fast?
Because they're the best drillers in the world. That's why they got hired. And then the criticism of this movie is, why wouldn't you teach astronauts how to drill instead of, drillers how to become astronauts? Because you'd think it would be easier to learn how to operate a drill than fly into space.
That's true, actually. I didn't even think about that.
It's a ridiculous movie, but it's super American. When I think of Armageddon, I think of America. It's just out there. The number one movie in July 12th of 1998 is Lethal Weapon 4. This is obviously the fourth of the Lethal Weapon series. The first two are two of the best action movies. Then it becomes more of a comedy series, but still really good. The fourth one, obviously, in my opinion, rather, is the worst of the series. Have you seen any of the Lethal Weapon films?
Nope.
Great buddy cop films. Mel Gibson, this kind of put him on the map. Although he was doing stuff before this, the Mad Max movies, this was the movie that really put Mel Gibson into the mainstream. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I'm a big fan of Mel Gibson's work. I know he's, bat poop crazy in real life. But this movie was fine, but that was the number one movie July 12th. July 19th, 1998, the number one movie was The Mask of Zorro, starring Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins and the lovely Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins is one of the best actors of our generation.
I just finished watching Westworld. It was season 2 just actually recently just ended, and he's been throughout that show.
I've heard really good things about that show. I tried to watch the first episode. It was very slow. And I have a short attention span.
You have to watch, like, it's almost like House of Cards at first. You have to watch, like, the first 3 episodes to really understand the purpose of the show. Because, like, it's one of those shows where you have to pay attention to everything. Because it's, like, it kind of goes back and forth from, like, times. And you just got to keep track with it. I'm not going to say anything else because it's going to give away too much. But it's definitely something cool. And also, I bet today's world is not that far from like some type of thing like a Westworld, which would be really cool.
And this is on HBO. And
HBO, yeah.
And they just finished the second season.
They just finished the second season, so it's probably going to be another 1.5 to 2 years until they come out with the next one, because it's that type of show where they really want to make sure everything is perfect.
And they have good special effects in the show, right?
Oh yeah, season 2 just got the special effects got so much better, and they don't use too much CGI, which I actually kind of like.
Yeah,
because I like when it's